So then what can happen is that we start letting go, dropping our belief in some thoughts, and those which are still seemingly meaningful to us, those we still pick up, and they could be the spiritual ones now, the glorious seeming ones. Those could be picked up. Now the thoughts could also change. It could feel like the mind is now changing and it has become very spiritual actually. It's giving you very scriptural words. The thoughts are much more well dressed. Don't buy them. Because if you buy this one also, it is with the presumption that I have become a very spiritual person or I have become a very special person now because I know this, which is a super glorious thing to know. It is of no value actually. No value actually. Why? Because suppose the thought is, I am that, or I am awareness. Yeah? Then, if it is just a thought and not really a pointer to the real looking or the real checking, if you're saying that I am awareness, I know this, I don't need to check anymore, okay, then it just becomes a concept. And when life comes with its seemingly strong situations, when the mind is blasting about various things and what could happen to you and what your life will become, then you insert one more dichotomy into it. So the mind is saying, you're in big trouble. Then you're saying, I am awareness. You're in big trouble. Or I am awareness. It's worse suffering than even believing the thought you're in big trouble. No, it's true. Like, although it sounds funny, but the thing is, such great dichotomy can happen that your suffering actually seems to intensify when we try to counter one thought with another thought. And this is from my own experience. I remember that when I used to know all of these things, you see, and I felt like I knew everything. And then when suffering came, my business was going down the drain, there were fights at home, all this was happening. None of these concepts were really helping at all, in fact, making it worse. You see, if I am that, then what is it that is feeling the pain? What is suffering? So it was just becoming worse because of this. And ultimately, even that is grace, because that is when the conceptual framework is seen to be completely useless. You see, unless it is only a pointer for our inquiry. So the minute we get into this phase that I know this now and therefore I don't need to look anymore, we must be wary of such proclamations and saying that we have arrived at this level or something like that. The knowing of knowingness itself, the awareness of awareness itself, is a recognition. But for who? Did awareness, which is the unchanging one, untouched one, forget itself? Does awareness, the ultimate truths, need to have a recognition of itself to remind itself of the truths? Are any words needed for awareness? Can the content of any waking state, including content like satsang, can it become meaningful to that which is the ultimate truth? Therefore, to this awareness, the content of what is appearing, although all content is made up of its own dynamic aspect called consciousness, the content is completely meaningless. Therefore, for awareness, whether it is satsang or it's a comedy show, it doesn't really matter. And once we start to have this recognition for ourselves, then the mind starts playing very subtle tricks. The, the con artist also starts bringing its A game now because you're starting to have the recognition of what you are. Then what is the trick? The trick could be, oh yes, now you've seen that you are awareness. So what is the point of satsang? Why do I need to inquire about this? Your awareness. What is the need for inquiry? What is the point of satsang? None of this. And from the point of view of awareness, all this is completely true actually. Nothing is ever really needed and nothing ever happened. Completely true. Then what is it that we are here for? We are here because there is still a sense that I woke up and I went to sleep. So this sense I am is still playing here. Consciousness or God is playing here. And most environments in this play are adding to the conditioning, adding to the belief that consciousness is a person. I am something. I must become a better person. I must become happy. I am unhappy. I am happy. All of this conditioning is getting added in most environments in this apparent realm. But also part of the play are these smaller points of light in which consciousness is coming to the recognition of its source, which is awareness, and consciousness is letting go of all conditions that have been attached to it. All part of the play still, yes. So the seeming teacher in the play is the point of light of unassociated being, which is opening us up to this same possibility or the same truth actually being clear, being real for ourselves. Therefore, like I say, satsang is not for the person because not even in this phenomenal play does a person really come into existence. And satsang is not for awareness because awareness cannot be bound or free, cannot be deluded or illuminated. Satsang for awareness is as meaningless as any other part of this play. Therefore, satsang is for what? It is for the dynamic aspect of awareness itself called consciousness, which has been playing as if it is a separate individual entity, and now coming to the recognition that I am made up of this awareness. Therefore, I am awareness itself, and coming to the dissolution of all personal conditioning. So now it has become very popular to negate this consciousness or beingness. We say that it's become very popular to say, let's not even make a distinction between awareness and consciousness, because ultimately all is awareness. But what usually happens, of course, some of you might have this insight that all is awareness and nothing has really happened. And if it's true insight, and if it is that strong an insight that comes along with the dropping of all millions of years of conditioning, then nothing is needed for you. No satsang also needed, nothing at all. Because the play of consciousness will seem like a small grain of sand twittering about, mean nothing at all to you. Not even that, maybe. Not even a pinprick. This entire play of consciousness. Because in the totality of awareness, in the non-phenomenality of awareness, this phenomenal play is nothing at all. But as long as it is not that, and you must have this integrity to look, is there really no difference for me, the sleep state and the waking state? Is this entire play of consciousness with all its drama of relationships and money and health of the body and freedom, all of this drama is really nothing for me, not even a grain of sand. Then let me say these holy words that nothing has ever really happened. But if this is not our experience with integrity, then don't be so quick to jump to these conclusions, because then they are only mental. Just because the play of consciousness is not apparent, don't be so quick to dismiss it and just go with the concept that there is no consciousness. I know, I have been there. For 3 years, I tried to figure out what this I am was. And I can understand how attractive it must be to say there is no being. Maharaj is wrong. What is the reason to come to this? Bhagwan with the I, all the sages who've talked about being and consciousness and Atma. There was no need for any of this. It can be very compelling to come to these conclusions because there is frustration there at not discovering. What is this being? So let me use a concept like I've done in the past to hide my fear. Let me close myself up to the inquiry because I know awareness is all there is. So, what needs to be looked at now? Don't fall into this, my beloved ones, because from experience I'm telling you that it is not the end of suffering. In fact, it is the intensification of suffering to buy into these ideas because ideas fighting ideas will not lead to the end of suffering, only to the increase in the intensity of it. The sense that I exist is primal to this existence. Even a child says, I woke up and I went to sleep. If animals could speak, they would also say, I woke up and I went to sleep. Even before the mind comes, a child will have the sense that I woke up and I was asleep. He will not be able to report it in words, but the presence or absence of this sense of existence is primal, it's primordial. In fact, this I amness, this Om, this consciousness, is the primordial, immaculate conception. And you will see that it is the light on its own screen. It is that which pleases all the actors. And it is my blessing that may there be a time for all of us that this entire phenomenal play will seem like nothing but a tiny grain of sand, even smaller than that. And then may we all be able to say with full integrity that all is awareness and nothing has ever really happened. From here, the concept of believing a thought or not, is meaningless. From here and here alone, the concept of satsang, or the sharing of this, is meaningless. From here, this entire play is meaningless. Desire is meaningless. Aversion has no meaning. Freedom is nothing. Bondage does not exist. But if these are still just thoughts, still just ideas, and you know in your heart that there is a lot of belief in the person, and you know for yourself that we are filled to the brim with desire, it is seen that something is not done with the play, then don't be so quick to pick up the ultimate sounding ideas just as ideas. If you must, then use them for your inquiry. Say that if this is the truth, how can I see this for myself? If it is just another thought, I am God or I am awareness, it is not in service to the truth. No thought is in service to the truth unless it is used to remove all other thoughts.